Oh no, Signal Bros, it's really over this time. My account has been compromised, my shipment of fertilizer and wood screws got intercepted from my dealer, and it's only a matter of time until the feds do a Waco at my house and I'm playing guitar with David Koresh up in heaven. I'm just kidding, of course. This is nowhere near as serious, at least for Signal users, as some news sources might have you think, but hey, I get it. When you use a title like this, that makes people think that one of the world's most private and secure messaging apps has been compromised, and you make people think that the whole world's on fire, your article gets more clicks and then makes more money. But really, this is a compromise of Twilio or Twilio, however you say it. They are the ones that got phished and had their customer data plundered. But this is a company that isn't on that many people's radar. It's not really a household name, even though they provide services to over 1,000 companies that you might be using every day, like Uber, Airbnb, eBay, and Reddit. So what exactly does Twilio do? Well, basically, they provide a bridge between telephony networks and the modern internet. For the most part, the internet uses HTTP, or HTTP over TLS for encrypted HTTP traffic. And phone systems use protocols like SIP and RTP, and it can be difficult to bridge the gap between those two kinds of networks. So instead of doing it themselves, many companies will opt to use a service like Twilio. They can also do things like SMS verification, which is what Signal actually uses them for. Now, of course, when you choose to outsource things instead of doing them yourself, you have to trust that the company that's doing these things for you is doing them correctly and doing them securely. And this time, it looks like Twilio dropped the ball a bit. So some of their employees fell victim to some social engineering. Okay, the attackers in this case were impersonating Twilio's IT staff, and they were telling employees that their passwords or their schedules had changed, and they send them a URL to sign in to fix whatever that problem is. But of course, the URL that's sent to them doesn't actually belong to Twilio. It sends them to a fake sign-in portal that the hackers controlled. So as soon as the employees put in their email and their passwords, it got sent to the hackers, and then they're able to access whatever sensitive data with it. And we actually have a sample of the text messages that were sent to Twilio's employees, and these are actually pretty good as far as social engineering goes. Because I'm sure that you guys get text messages all the time attempting to scam you or pull some kind of shenanigans. I get them sometimes as well. And they usually aren't convincing at all. You could just immediately look at it and know, oh, okay, that's a scam. But with these, everything is spelled correctly. The hackers used proper grammar when they were writing this out. And they have it blurred out here, but the messages were actually coming from US carriers. So the hackers didn't go and use some like really cheap numbers that, again, will make it look like it's less legitimate. And also, they were using this that's blurred out here was either the employee's username or it was their email address. So the hackers did some reconnaissance on maybe not necessarily these employees, but maybe they did it on the company. You know, they maybe figured out what the scheme was for their usernames. Maybe it's like first letter of the first name and then last name, something like that. And so they were able to send that to the employee to, again, make it seem like it's more legitimate, you know, make them trust this text message and not just get those vibes that it's a scam right away. And also, if we look at the domain that these hackers were using, that they registered, or, you know, maybe they took them over, but more than likely they just registered this, Twilio-sso.com and then Twilio-octa.com. So because this is using Twilio, and then maybe you guys don't know, but SSO is single sign-on, and then Okta is Okta. Both of these are like authentication solutions that a lot of companies use. In theory, it's supposed to make people more secure, but this can be used for social engineering, right? Because people see this SSO or they see this Okta, and then you just hyphenate that with the name of the company, which is probably a domain that you can go buy. And boom, it's it's the perfect domain for tricking people who are not being aware of what's going on, who aren't paying close attention. And of course, we're making the employees feel some urgency, right? So, notice exclamation mark login has expired. Please tap to, update your password with another exclamation mark. Or this one, alert, in all caps with 2 exclamation marks, which almost raises a red flag by itself. I mean, maybe actual alert messages from your company will do this. Will do like alert in all caps. But this is made to kind of make the employees panic, right? It's made to put them in an emotional state where they're no longer using logic, and so they're more likely to fall for this scam, right? This alert with all caps is going to make it less likely that they'll notice something like this, that this is not a proper domain for them to click on. So this is the difference between phishing and spear phishing, right? These messages are being tailor-made for the employee that they're meant to compromise, and as a result, they were more successful. And I think it was 125 of Twilio's customers had data access. But remember, when we say customers of Twilio, we're talking about companies. One of those companies was Signal. So Signal posted about this on their blog, calling it the Twilio incident. And I'm going to link both of these, Twilio's blog post as well as Signal's, in the description of this video. And a small percentage of Signal users were affected by this. They said 1,900 users were directly affected by this. Now, the attacker was not able to see anyone's messages or really get any meaningful data from people because all of Signal's messages are end-to-end encrypted. There's nothing that's stored on their servers, and they're not collecting unnecessary information from people. The worst thing that the hacker was able to do during the window, and they've been kicked out. Everything has been fixed on Twilio's and Signal's ends now, but during that window that they were in, the worst thing that a hacker would be able to do is see the SMS verification code that is used to register with Signal. So, when you register, they text you that code. A hacker could have gotten that, and they could have potentially used that to then register your account on a device that they control. But even doing that isn't going to give them message history because Signal doesn't back up your messages to your account like WhatsApp or some of these other secure messaging, so-called secure messaging apps do. And if you were to use a PIN or a password on your Signal account, which they actually recommend that you do, then the hacker wouldn't have even been able to access your account because you have that PIN in addition to the SMS verification. So yeah, this is kind of a nothing burger, at least for Signal users. Some of them might have gotten their account deregistered. Maybe some people out there aren't using a PIN. So in that case, if they got deregistered and no PIN, then the hacker could send messages from their phone number. Hopefully, that's a wake-up call to anyone out there who's not securing their Signal account properly, because Signal gives you all the tools that you need to have secure messaging. You just have to use them. And I think they actually do force like the PIN on you in some cases. I mean, maybe if you're using a fork of the app, they don't force that. But I think I remember that from like a year or two ago. Some people were complaining that Signal was forcing them to use a PIN. Oh no, they're making me be secure. How dare you? But anyway, point is, nobody using Signal was really negatively affected by this. Now, as for other companies that are affected by this, because again, there was over 100 customers from Twilio that apparently had some data breached. I guess we'll have to see, because I haven't seen any posts from any other companies that I know use Twilio talking about data compromises, just Signal, which I guess is the reason why so many journalists are calling this a Signal compromise instead of a Twilio compromise, but it really is. And this is also a reason to be more wary about what third-party companies are getting access to your data when you sign up to things. Again, in the case of Signal, they're not giving anything to any, I mean, they're giving your phone number, obviously. They have to give that to Twilio to do the SMS verification. But I guarantee you, most of the people that are using, most of like the companies, the customers of Twilio, they do not have a privacy policy like Signal's. and they have a whole lot more data about you that may have been accessible through this Twilio hack. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, leave a like and a comment to hack the algorithm, follow me on Odysee, and have a great day.